At Subway, start 2010 right with surprisingly low-fat choices. The Piled High Subway Club or Turkey Melt, fresh toasted under bubbly cheese. Both are part of a Subway Fresh Fit meal, a simple way to enjoy eating better. Subway, eat fresh. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
All right, it's the last NFL Mega Playoff podcast of the year. Kind of sad. I feel a little verklempt, whatever that word is. On the phone right now on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline, leading us off, as always, our friend Cousin Sal. What's happening?
What's happening, Bill? What was that word?
I don't know, verklempt? Verklempt?
Oh, is that the...
I don't know.
word? Okay.
Whatever that word is, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so Colts-Saints, Sunday. The line is 5.5. You and I were on the phone this weekend. And I feel this thing's going to get to 7 if Freeney is healthy. What do you think?
Yeah, well, for those, we had our picks contest, and just for anyone keeping track, anyone who cares, you beat me this year, and
Yeah.
you get to beat me with a Subway sub. We both picked 3.5. I think it opened at 3.5.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's 5.5 now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it moves. I don't think the line moves with Freeney being out. First of all, I think he plays. I heard him interviewed, and I think it's one of those things where the Patriots did with Randy Moss a few times. They knew he was hurt or whatever, and they just stick him out there as a decoy. And, you know, if you're not getting double teamed, you're at least there's attention on you there. So I think he's in there. Maybe he's not as effective, but I don't think it moves the line. I really don't.
It is a good thing for the Saints, obviously. And
Yeah.
Peter King did a good job. He asked Maurice Jones-Drew about it in his column today. And Mojo said that the big difference is that you won't have to keep the second guy in to block him, which means they'll be able to send one more receiver out. Kind of got my wheels turning.
Right.
Now you got 4 or 5 guys out on every pass instead of 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Seems like an advantage.
First of all, Belichick says Freeney is okay, and he's pissed off at the media for making a big deal out of it. I don't see how this is his business anyway, but...
Wait, I like when they get the hyperbaric chamber or whatever, when the guy's just... He's got the ankle, is just walking around with the special thing that normal human beings can't get, only athletes can get. Like, let's say your son, like, breaks his leg. You don't get one of those things to put on his leg so it heals. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's not about to affect the point spread, so, yeah.
Can you remember a point spread in what I like to call the Vegas zone of 4.5 to 5.5 for the Super Bowl? I can't remember the last time this has happened.
No, you think it should be 7, right?
It's just, this is a weird, this spread, you know, historically means that Vegas isn't really sure what to do, and neither is the gambling public. You would think we have 2 weeks to think about the Super Bowl. You'd think it would either end up at 6 or 4. 5.5, you know, no game ends in 5. It's just kind of a weird spread. I don't get it.
It makes me nervous because, hypothetically speaking, let's say you lost a lot of money this year and you had one game to get it back, and you have Peyton Manning is the guy you trust to do it, right? And he could do it, and his team could win by less than a touchdown, and you could still cover and recoup all your losses for the year.
Yeah.
And it seems too easy. I feel like we're being set up here, but
a little bit, you know, maybe like Super Bowl 42.
Which
a lot of people like the Pats.
Patriots Giants.
Yeah, it's like you know, everybody liked the Pats. Oh yeah, they're going to blow them out, all that stuff. My thing is, I think it's going to be interesting with Manning. His career could really go one of 2 directions. Either he's going to go down as one of the best ever, or whatever, or if they win this game convincingly, I think now he has staked his claim maybe as the best ever.
Well, you know, you said something interesting. I thought you were going to go totally the other way with this. I said if this Peyton Manning played the Patriots defense, maybe you don't even want this getting out, of what do we want to say, 2002, 2003,
Yeah.
You said you think he'd be able to figure it out by now. And I just feel like he is in that kind of zone where it doesn't matter what you throw at him by the second or third quarter or even fourth quarter, he's going to figure it out. He may have those happy feet early on, but he's just the best. He's got these receivers that no one's heard of running crazy routes over the middle, and you just have so much confidence when he throws the ball. And that's why I like. And I do think even though it's a new decade, I think he wants to be put up there with the elite names.
I think this puts him, at least he's, without an argument, would be on the Montana Elway group. And then whatever, you could argue who's 1, 2, 3, whatever. But
you told me if the Patriots could have traded for him 6 years ago, he would do it in a heartbeat.
Stop trying to get me in trouble. My point was that if you had the 2010 Colts against the 03-04 Pats, which I think finished 34-4, best 2-year run probably in NFL history. But it was the current rules where you couldn't be physical with the receivers, you couldn't jam them, you couldn't have your hands all over them. I think he probably would beat them because the way that the defenses are forced to play now and the way that the rules just benefit the receivers and all that stuff, it's almost too big of an advantage for him. Eventually he can just figure out whatever you're throwing at him, and he starts playing pitch and catch.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you stop that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know either. And the Saints give up just about as many yards as the Colts are used to getting offensively. So, the Saints are a good team. I don't know why. I think I've convinced myself to be more confident than I should with the Colts. Like, I knew they'd beat the Bears in Miami. That was Miami, right? A few years ago?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be as confident as I was that they'd trounce that Bears team, but I sort of am.
Yeah, I guess the one difference is that the Saints can score if they're behind. So maybe it would be almost impossible to have a blowout situation here. You're going to beat the Saints, but they're always going to be at least coming back. And even if they're down 24-10, they're still in the game. Whereas like with Rex Grossman 3 years ago, they took the lead, it was over. We don't know how much with the Saints. We don't know how much of it was home field advantage and turf and all this stuff. I remember watching that game when the Dolphins should have beaten them, which late October. And Breeze did go into the zone a little bit, but at the same time, the Dolphins just weren't good enough to protect that lead, and they dropped a couple of passes. But I don't know if I trust the Saints team outdoors playing from behind.
Passes as well, but yeah. Not to switch subjects, but we are running out of Sundays here, and I didn't tell you, but I did have money on the Pro Bowl and lost yesterday. And it was
beautiful!
Nice to see one last time my hero Tony Romo throw an interception down the stretch.
Is that what happened? I didn't even watch. I saw it. I turned it in. David Garrard was playing, and that was it for me.
Yeah. Well,
if he's in the Pro Bowl, we need to get rid of it.
Wade Phillips got out-coached one more time. So.
No, he didn't.
Basically. How funny would it be if Jerry Jones fired him this morning after his Pro Bowl coaching?
It was the final straw.
Yeah, I know we signed you to a deal, but look, your defense quit on you yesterday. They gave up 41 points. You had Julius Peppers, Jared Allen, Asante Samuel, guys who you normally play with. They quit on you, and it sends a bad message for next year, so we're going to have to let you go. It's
really a game that should not happen anymore.
No.
Because I actually was thinking about talking you into an AFC bet yesterday. I don't know why. I just thought maybe Chris Johnson was going to run amok. And what was that line?
It was the AFC was getting 3.
Oh. Yeah.
But no, it was, I would have taken them. I just felt like having money on the game, and I just thought the NFC would win. But, yeah. Yeah, they do have to get rid of that game. 10 guys sit anyway because of injuries, and now you have 12 Colts and Saints who aren't going to play. But
well, what's really sad is you wanted to tease the NFC with one of the bowlers from the bowling event that I announced yesterday. And
you had your bowling broadcast debut. I said, yeah.
I told you I had some inside information that maybe Walter Ray Williams Jr. was looking pretty good, but unfortunately there's no lines for it.
Over under 235 pins. I needed to hear it.
How would you save the Pro Bowl, just out of curiosity?
Huh?
How would you save the Pro Bowl?
Should
we just not have it? What's the point?
You know what? The one thing I was kind of interested in is to see Ocho Cinco kick, and I think we've seen it before and everything, but I don't know, mix it up like that, like let's see Maurice Jones-Drew play quarterback for a little bit or something. Have more fun with it. These guys aren't blitzing. I think Wade Phillips got called for an illegal defense anyway because he blitzed somebody. So it's not even a game. Let them have fun.
And the Colts and Saints, there were no Colts and Saints that played in the game, obviously?
No. Breeze was on the sideline, but no Colts and Saints. It's funny because I think a guy like Ocho Cinco would play in the game if the Bengals were in the Super Bowl next week.
Right.
T.O. But aside from that, that's it. No one's playing that game.
I think we should cancel it. All right, let's get to the Super Bowl props. Last year, probably one of the greatest moments in the history of this podcast, you came out and you announced that there was no way Gary Russell was scoring a touchdown in the Cardinals-Steelers Super Bowl, and that this was the lock of the year, and we went through the whole thing, and almost immediately he scored.
He scored the first touchdown. Yeah. Which you could have gotten 35-1 odds on.
Yeah. It was a complete reverse of what you said. So I think you have to atone for yourself this year with some props.
I know. I did like that. You got a subsequent email from someone who actually started dating a girl because she saw her giggling. He saw her giggling after Gary Russell scored a touchdown, and they dated after that. I don't know if they got engaged or what, but I brought the couple together. If I could, $3,000 at a time bring couples together, I think it's all worth it.
Yeah, it was the guy was at a party, saw this girl giggling, and they kind of looked at each other, and he said, "Cousin Sal?" And she said, "Yes." And they started talking, and then they stared dating.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that was good. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm going to do this. I'm going to go a more conventional thing, and maybe I'm too much in love with Peyton Manning this week, but we're not going to stick to the Gary Russell, who I don't even think is in the league anymore. He was with the Raiders or whatever. But no. Peyton Manning will throw a second-quarter touchdown pass, -125. I like this a lot. I think he's going to get it. He may have 2 touchdown passes. You may have to wait till the last 2 minutes of the quarter, but he does seem to get down there, and that's where he blows up. That's a winning bet right there.
I really
like
that.
On it.
I like that a lot.
You like that, right?
Yeah, because defenses usually have some wrinkle that they throw at him in the first quarter. He solves it, and then he starts wreaking havoc.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a good. Why would that line only be -125?
I don't know. It might move up now that we're talking about it.
Oh boy, I hope
you
didn't
cut this out of the podcast. We'll be all right.
So what is the over/under for him for touchdown passes in this game? 2.5.
It's 2.5. And I think you have to lay a little more for the over.
I don't mind that one either.
Yeah, I do think he goes a little nuts here.
Can we go over the Super Bowl MVP odds?
Yeah, let's do that. And let me tell you, I think this Pierre Garçon should be considered for everything, really. I mean, this Haiti relief thing, you think he can get like a sympathetic vote?
Possibly. Well, last week on the 2 weeks ago on the Mega podcast, Aaron Schatz from Football Outsiders actually predicted that if there was a way to hand out the MVP for the AFC title game, that it would be Pierre Garçon.
Really?
That he would go crazy, which is exactly what happened.
Consider that, and then whatever, they'll probably give it to Manning anyway. But if you look at the 4 Colts receivers, Austin Collie 18-1, Dallas Clark 12-1, tight end obviously, Pierre Garçon 15-1, and Reggie Wayne 10-1. That could be a fun thing,
So Pierre's 15-1.
MVP. Yeah. Garçon's 15-1. I also like him for over 60.5 yards. Yeah.
What is the Manning MVP odds?
I think it's one of those things where I think it's worse than the odds of the Colts winning. No, it's -200. It's 2-1, so it's barely better than taking the Colts to win.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think just people are pounding it. That's why.
Is there, just out of curiosity, a Saints Super Bowl MVP prop that we might like?
An MVP guy?
What's Shockey?
Don't you have to play? 25-1.
All right. How about Reggie Bush?
Breeze is 3-1. Darren Sharper 30-1. Maybe something stupid happens there. You could cover yourself a little bit.
Wait a second. Breeze is 3-1?
Breeze is 3-1.
What's the Saints money line? Like plus 240, plus 230?
Plus 180 or something, yeah.
Oh. So if you like the Saints, you should just bet Breeze to win the MVP.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how they're going to win without. Unless, like I said, like Darren Sharper has 3 interceptions, but you can cover yourself with 30-1 there.
Yeah, I'm not going to etch that one in stone. You know, the one thing, if you're going to make the case for the Saints, I do like the coaching matchup for them.
Mm-hmm.
I like Sean Payton. I think he's good. And I think with 2 weeks, he might be able to figure out some ways to attack this Colts team. I also think, have you heard anyone make the case for the Saints? Are they in the nobody believes in us zone? Because they're getting close.
I think you're going to see. I think this happened last year too. Like we heard more about the Cardinals the second week, even though it was all Steelers the first week, and I guess they actually covered, so that makes sense. But I think what happens is like people bet the Colts and they won, and people bet the Saints, and even though they won, they didn't cover. So immediately people are like, oh, screw it, I'm taking the Colts. The Saints got lucky in the Super Bowl, and that's why the line shot up from 3.5 to 5.5. And so I think we'll see more Saints support.
Well, we did talk about that if the Saints didn't play well, basically how the Saints played was going to determine what the Super Bowl line was, and that if they played really well and they dominated the Vikings, that we might see a line under 3, 2.5, 2, something like that.
Yeah.
We saw the opposite. You know, they were pretty lucky to win that game. The Vikings, I just thought were better. I thought they dominated that game. All the wounds were self-inflicted, basically. And when you consider that was at the Superdome, I don't know. This is either the third or the fourth best team that made the Super Bowl, where the Colts are clearly the best team. So I think the line should be 7. I really do.
I mean, this is a team who every time they put their starters on the field, they win. So how do you give less than 7? I know the Saints were solid all year. And you know what's funny? Like, of all these podcasts we did, the only one, I don't know, maybe the other guys did, but Super Dave, and it's a 1 versus a 1, so you can only say so much about it. Super Dave Osborne predicted the Saints versus the Colts. So
is that true?
Yeah. Remember we were making fun of him about it? It was probably week 13 or something.
I had a book signing in New York in late October, and this reader emailed me last week, and he said that I signed it. He asked me for a Super Bowl prediction, apparently. And I signed it Super Bowl 44, Saints 41, Colts 40.
Wow.
And he was like, and I have a picture of this, and if you have any balls, that'll be your Super Bowl prediction.
Really?
You should just say I called this 3 months ago, or 2.5 months ago, Saints 41, Colts 40. That would be pretty weird if that was the final score.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you like the over? We should talk about that for a second.
Let's talk about the over. What is it?
It's 56.5. I think people were pounding the overs last week, and it just seems too easy that it comes out over again, doesn't it?
Well, I have a bet.
I'm thinking like 31-21.
Here's the thing, though. If the Saints win, it is going over, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
If they win, it's something like 31-27, 34-30. 38
Manning's
to 30.
Not going to get shut down under 20 points. So
no.
Yeah, I think
and for just the way the Saints are built, I think they need to score a lot of points to win a game like this. So maybe the move, if you like the Saints, maybe you go Saints money line with the over.
Yeah.
Which would be, so plus 180 times the over. What's that work out? Like almost 4-1?
Oh, yeah, I think more than that, yeah.
More than that?
Yeah. I don't have it with me right now.
What do you can figure out this stuff in 2 seconds.
All right, hold on.
Nobody's better at this than you. The parlay
I would say it's almost 5-1 without looking, but
5 almost, so maybe like plus 480.
Yeah.
That's pretty enticing. You just go into that saying, I think the Saints are going to win. Wait, what were you saying?
Colts the whole time, and now you don't like it.
No, I'm just saying, if you like the Saints, you should just say, you know what, I'm going balls to the wall here. I think the Saints win a high-scoring game. I have plus 480 Saints in the over.
It's actually 435. I just looked it up.
Plus 435. All right.
Yeah.
And what about the first score? Do we like anyone for that?
I hate that bet. I don't know.
You make it every year. You always make it.
Jerry Russell last year.
Yeah, but you always make it. It's your favorite bet. Come on.
Dallas Clark then.
What are the odds?
Why not? Let's see what it is. I have to find it, but
flip through your
Dallas
20
Clark,
pages.
7-1. I would take all the Colts receivers on this again. Wayne Garcon. Wayne is 7-1. Garcon 10-1. Clark 7 and Collie 12. And then watch it die, punch it in after a pass interference in the end zone.
What's Donald Brown? Just out of curiosity.
15 only.
Little screen pass from the 9. That could be interesting.
By the way, I had a whole rant prepared about this David Thomas under 2.5 receptions as a backup tight end for the Saints. This is going to be my Waterloo again, like a Gary Russell.
You got scared?
Not throwing to him more than 2 times. It's a Super Bowl, and I scratched the whole thing. But
why?
Keep that. You like that?
Well, because Gary Russell scared you off. Now you're afraid of David Thomas.
Gary Russell scared me from a lot of things. All right, screw it. That's my prop bet. I like it. David Thomas, and I looked it up. It's not the Wendy's guy. It's another one. Under 2.5 receptions in this Super Bowl.
What are the odds?
He's going to do it. It's even. Even odds.
He's a former Patriot, you know. He's the guy who helped kill last season.
He killed it? What do you mean?
Yeah, we played at Indianapolis, and 2 people killed the game. Jabbar Gaffney dropped a short touchdown. David Thomas had a terrible late hit on the drive that we were driving down to take the lead, and we ended up not making the playoffs because we lost that game, and he immediately got waived. And Gaffney got let go. Both guys were basically kicked off the team for that loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Drew Brees remembers that. He doesn't want to put the game in that guy's hands.
So he would need 3 catches to beat you there.
3 catches makes you lose. I like that one. I like Manning to throw a second quarter touchdown pass, and Garcon at 15-1 to win the MVP.
Yeah, but Manning's going to win the MVP.
I know, it sucks. Yeah.
Manning's...
Take a chance. It's fun, though, rooting for the receivers.
I mean, how many catches would Garcon have to have? He'd have to have 11 to 13, right?
Yeah. That many, huh?
Yeah. Or else Manning wins it. He'd have to, I would say, at least 2 touchdowns, and he'd have to have at least 11 catches.
Yeah, but he would take all of Haiti to Disney World. I mean, that's something that, what a story that would be if he won.
So you're saying that, I see where you're going with this. So he's going to have a good game, but the Haiti part will make people potentially swing it toward him because, you know, it's a nice thing to do. Yeah, I like that.
And then we bet it, and then we donate, a quarter of the proceeds to Haiti.
I like that.
Let's do it.
Plus, it would be poetic symmetry because that was the guy who caused me to flip out at our fantasy draft this year.
Yeah, that's right.
When Damashek, after 6 beers, took him in the second to last round and then almost won the
13
championship.
13 beers in the 4th round, yeah.
Whatever it was. Before we let you go, one last controversial, probably the most controversial subplot of this entire Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Our cousin Jimmy not throwing a Super Bowl party this year.
Yeah, I got to hand it. I did. Look, he put us up for 20 straight weeks. He pays for food and everything. Like most of the time, people don't even bring anything. They're there for 7 hours. And also, he threw like a Christmas party with 150 people there, and he just couldn't stand the idea of everyone and their families coming one more Sunday. I don't blame him. I really don't. Problem is, we have nowhere to go.
Could a cynic look at it this way, though? He's coming off one of the hottest stretches his show's ever had. Had this great Leno thing, had this other great Leno thing. Suddenly not having a Super Bowl party now. It's like he's too good for the Super Bowl party.
Oh, that could be. So you're saying he sucker punched us?
I think he sucker punched the group. So what happens now? What happens for the Super Bowl party?
I don't know. I'll have to check. I don't even know if we're allowed to watch the game now. I'll have to check with him. But
is it just everybody splinters?
Yeah. I think our buddy. I can't say because now.
You don't want to tip other people off.
A couple of people have said to me, "I'm having a party, but it's got to be kept small." So
yeah,
so that's Daniel requested that, so I will not.
Daniel's house in Santa Monica. We will.
Right.
I think this game, for some reason, it could just suck. Yeah. I do get this feeling like you think like the game 3 years ago. That game sucked. Like name 3 things that happened in that game. Nobody could. If you looked at somebody, Yeah, Colts-Bears. Like, what are your 3 favorite memories of Colts-Bears? I don't think anybody... Joe Mead.
Yes.
Name 3 things that happened in Colts-Bears Super Bowl.
It rained. All the corporate people left the stands. I don't know. There was some bad Rex Grossman interceptions probably.
Yeah, nobody can remember anything.
I'll tell you this. This is what the only thing that made it somewhat interesting. I'm pretty sure Devin Hester returned the opening kick for a touchdown. That was...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Garbage, and Manning just grinded them out, and before you knew it, they had like a 12-point lead or something.
And I think the exciting thing about that was his first guy to score the first touchdown or whatever. Those odds were pretty good, right?
They were very good. They were like 25-1 or something.
Yeah, that was exciting. Yeah. All right, so that was one thing.
Yeah.
And then I just remember Rex Grossman falling apart.
Yeah.
Do you think
it could be lame? It could be a lame game. But
is there any chance that Jimmy canceled the Super Bowl party because Corolla was overserved last year?
Last year.
Well, I mean, but really, specifically last year. I don't know if you remember, but
yeah,
did not behave himself, and there was even, I think, a spilled drink.
Yeah, I know. But he's always, I mean, he didn't vomit on his kids when he put them in the car seat and it was time to drive them home.
That's true. All right, so
by the way,
Cousins out.
Corolla has the Colts, so we should also be careful of that.
Is that true?
Yeah, he does.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, he's very careful. All right, so to recap, we like the Colts.
Yeah.
We kind of like, if you're going to hedge, if you think maybe whatever, talk yourself into the Saints, then go Saints over parlay with the plus 435. That's pretty solid. We like Garcon 15-1 for the MVP if you like the long shot Super Bowl pick. Although I would recommend Manning. Just if you're going to go that route, just go Manning instead of betting the Colts money line. You like David Thomas.
Under
2.5 receptions.
Yeah, that guy's not going to be anywhere.
But your favorite bet, and a bet that I'm going to give my stamp of approval on, Peyton Manning will throw a second quarter touchdown minus 125.
He will probably throw 2, but he's definitely going to throw 1. You heard it here.
Do you want to lay odds on Jimmy sending me an angry email that I talked about how he canceled the Super Bowl party? Plus 300?
I don't think he cares.
Plus 400?
All right, plus 400. I don't think he cares.
Last thing.
Yeah.
Well, we have our last podcast.
Oh, even odds that Phil Simms says the word verklempt on the Super Bowl.
Oh, that'd be good. You have to come back. So we're doing a podcast next week, and then you have to come back. We got to break down the Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
The heroes versus villains. I saw a promo last night, and I actually got too excited. Considering it was a reality show promo. I literally almost had to stand up.
It's funny. I was thinking about that. You say if the game is a snoozer, at least we have the Survivor promos to look forward to because they are great. There are like 6 or 7 villains. Like you don't know how they're going to coexist.
They made a mistake though. This should have the Survivor the pilot should have followed the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
that would have been the move.
They had it a couple of times like that, and they stopped doing it. Well,
that's the move. All right, Cousins out. Good luck with your props. Good luck with your bets. We'll talk to you next Monday. All right.
Yes.
Let's go live to Miami. We have a correspondent in Miami from the National Football Post, our friend, Mike Lombardi. What's happening?
Not much, Bill. We're just excited 6 days away from real football once again.
Are you going to just be walking around Radio Row every day like Gil Brandt, just hoping people recognize you so you can do 10-minute hits? What's going to happen?
I'm going to avoid. I'm here for NFL Network, so I'm going to be doing the Total Access every night at 7 o'clock from South Beach, which is interesting for me, so it'll be fun. I'm here, and I don't think I'm going up to Fort Lauderdale at all. I have to do Inside the NFL on Showtime tomorrow, and that might be my last appearance in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, try to stay out of Fort Lauderdale if you can. And then, so they have the NFL Network. They're going to have the set on the beach.
They're going to have a set down here. I don't know exactly. Hopefully, it's not on the beach today because we might get blown off by the wind. But yeah, we're going to be down here on South Beach somewhere, and have it. We have a set up in Fort Lauderdale as well. But the day works out of Fort Lauderdale, and the nights come down to South Beach, which makes sense.
It's a good segue for us because this game's in Miami, and if you've never been there for a Super Bowl week, you might mistakenly think that the weather is just gorgeous there. Oh, the elements are going to be great. And actually, that's not necessarily true. And as Joe pointed out when we had Cousin Sal on, it rained during the Colts-Bears Super Bowl. The odds of the weather being good are probably low. Who does that help more, Colts or Saints?
Well, I think it might help the Saints, actually, because I think anytime you can get a wet field with a little bit of soggy conditions, and especially with Dwight Freeney's ankle being subject to concern, and whether he has torn ligaments or a sprained ankle, whatever the terminology you want to use, he's hurting. And then it'll affect his get-off. And I think a soggy field always benefits a passing team, which both teams are. But the Colts rely so much on their pass rush and their ability to get to the quarterback. It'll help the Saints, I think, a little bit.
So combo, the weather helps them and Freeney helps them.
Yeah, I mean, Freeney is the key guy that they're going to have to handle. And I think when they lose, DeMarcus Ware was devastating in the first time that they lost this year. And anytime, Jared Allen caused a lot of problems. I mean, they didn't throw the ball particularly well against the Vikings. Had some drops, but I think that position over there is a factor. And if Freeney's not 100%, then it can allow them to do other things and not have to always help over there.
The line started at 3.5, moved to 5.5, and it stayed there. I call that the Vegas zone. Usually that means that people don't really have an idea where this game's going, and consensus is pretty split. Have you heard people make the case for the Saints, or has it been mostly Colts for people you've talked to?
Everybody that I've talked to in the NFL thinks the Colts will win, but everybody does think there's a way in which the Saints can win, and blitzing isn't the way. I mean, everybody thinks that Greg Williams is really more it's more false bravado than it is anything reality, because there's no way he could actually think he's going to blitz. I mean, Peyton Manning against the blitz is over 100 quarterback rating, and and that doesn't work, and it didn't work against Brett Favre. So most people that I talk to think that if they can play effectively in the red zone, offensively and defensively, and then that gives them a chance. And they have to really, and this is my own opinion, I think at the end of the day, they have to be like Jacksonville, down 35-31, 2:06 to go in the game. Jacksonville gets the ball, one timeout left. If that's the Saints, that's the way they win the game. Go all the way down the field, score, and then the game's over.
So you back my theory then, because Sal and I were talking about it. I was saying if you're going to bet the Saints in this game, the over-under is 56.5. That game needs to be a high-scoring game for them to win. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think
so. Just bet the Saints plus the over. That's probably the bet if you like the Saints, because why not?
If you like the Saints, because I think the Saints will move the ball. The problem the Saints have, and this is where time of possession isn't really a factor in the game, the Saints can hold the ball for 8 minutes, but if they get in the red zone and kick a field goal, they could be down 7-3, and 9 minutes have been gone off the clock.
Yeah.
So they have to score touchdowns to match this, and that's why I think the red zone offense and defense. In fact, I wrote about this today. If I were the Saints, I would practice like those NBA, like some college teams do with 6 guys on the court. I would practice my red zone defense this week with 12 guys representing the Colts.
Oh. Do teams do that often? Because I always like that idea.
I don't know if they do, but to me, the speed of the Colts defense is so dominating in the red zone, and it's so effective that I know it doesn't make sense from how do you define the coverage, but the way the tight windows that you're going to have to throw the ball through are going to be so small that if you played with 12, it would give you a true indication of what it's going to be like to play them in the red zone. And you've got to score touchdowns. You can't kick field goals.
You brought up the whole thing about not blitzing Manning. And, in the past, this is something the Chargers used to love to do. The game plan was always to just go after him, stunt him, so he never is able to know what's coming and all that stuff. Now it seems like he's solved that. So if you're playing the Colts, why don't teams just say, you know what, run the ball on us? We're basically gonna play 7 defensive backs, and we're gonna blanket everybody, and you're gonna have to run the ball to beat us. A little bit like what the Saints did to the Patriots on the Monday night game, where they were just like, look, we're going to double-team Walker, we're going to double-team Moss, beat us some other way. Why don't people do that against the Colts?
I think that, I don't know why they don't, but I think that's the right strategy. I think that's the way to play them, is to rush 3 and, lure them into running the ball, or rush 6, overload at times when you need it down. And I think the other thing you have to do when you play the Colts is you have to have 2 or 3 calls in your back pocket that you've never utilized before in your life, and you have to be able to use them in the fourth quarter when you need them. You can't use them in the first quarter. To use a blitz in the first quarter against Peyton Manning to get off the field and gain a possession in the first quarter is meaningless. You got to save it for the fourth, and you have to be very disciplined in the fourth quarter to use it and know when to use it. So I agree. I think that strategy is the right strategy. And then combined with that strategy, when you let them run it, then you can't let them run it in the end zone because they like to do that. and then you got to just play great red zone defense.
Do you think that, like, for instance, the Jets, and we didn't really talk about the Jets game when we had you on last week. It was like they came out, they had a plan. Manning eventually figured it out, and then they had no plan B. Whereas when Belichick, when he was throwing 99 on the radar gun, he used to do one thing in the first half and then switch for the second. He always had a two-tiered plan.
Right.
So let's say the Saints start out, they're blitzing, they're throwing everything at Manning, and then they switch to the Monday Night Football against the Patriots plan. Or all of a sudden they got 8 guys back, everybody's getting double-teamed, and they're begging the Colts to run the ball. That seems like that would work, or maybe at least come close to working.
I think you have to break the game down into percentages, and I think you have to have 33% of your game plan's got to be some of that all-out overload pressure. 33%'s got to be your three-man back off and do some different things, and then 33%'s just got to be really straight, and then you've got to play. So you can't let him ever get a handle on where you're coming from, and you better save something for the fourth quarter because it's going to come down to that.
And you need to score at least – you have to go into the game knowing you have to score at least 30 points, right?
Exactly. And you've got to be precise on every third down you have to keep the ball, and you've got to be precise when you get down in the red zone because if you're not and they force you to kick field goals, that's how they keep widening the game from you. It's not so much time of possession. It's what you do when you get the ball in the red area. You're going to keep the ball. They don't mind. They're one of the last teams in the league in allowing 10-play drives. I mean, they don't mind doing it, but you got to do something when you get down there.
The Ravens in round 2 and the Jets in round 3, did their defenses do anything in those games that Greg Williams could steal from and say, all right, well, maybe we could try this for a quarter?
I think without a doubt the Ravens did. The Ravens played exactly the way we're talking about. They did a little bit of everything, and they did a good job in the red zone. Where the Ravens lost the game was at the end of the half. Their offense lost the game for them.
Right.
And so they got behind. But for the most part, the Ravens played extremely well, and they did it in a style that's conducive to what you have to do if you're going to play the guy. To hold them to 275 total yards is a great miracle. And if the Saints do that, they'll win.
As this podcast is going along, I'm starting to talk myself into the Saints a little bit.
You know, it's one of those. I think that the advantage the Saints have in this game is Sean Payton's ability to be creative in the red zone. And find a way to get the ball in there, and for Breeze to put it through those tight windows, which he can do. Now, last week against the Vikings, he took some hits. Is his shoulder okay? Some people think maybe it's not, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Nobody seems to indicate it's not, but he's going to be the key. If the Saints win, Drew Brees is the MVP of the game by far.
And his odds are 3-1. The Saints are plus 180 to win the game, but Drew Brees 3-1. I agree with you. If you're going to make a Saints Super Bowl MVP bet, he's probably the guy. Is there another Saint? Let's say the Saints win. Who would be your pick that, oh yeah, that guy. That's other than Breeze, that's the main reason they won. Who would that guy be?
It would have to be a receiver who makes big plays. It'd have to be Meacham, Henderson, or Colston making big plays up the field. 3 touchdowns.
Do you trust those guys?
No.
I don't either.
But it'd have to be one of those. I thought Colston really kind of let the game get to him last week. And the Saints, to play receiver for the Saints, you've got to be extremely tough because they're going to throw the ball in the seams and you're going to get hit. And you got to be able to catch those hits, and you got to come up with the ball, and that's part of their offense. I mean, their offense is seam-based. They want to throw it up the field, and if you don't catch it, then their offense kind of smolders down. So I don't trust them, but I think one of those receivers has got to be the key. I don't think this is a Reggie Bush. He's going to have an impact in the game as much as he did in the Arizona game. That, to me, isn't the style of game. This is more of a receiver up the field game.
What are the odds that we just see a really ugly first half where not a lot happens and it's just kind of not good football?
I don't think that will. I think both teams know they need to be offensive, and both coordinators, and Manning being the play caller and Payton will be aggressive from the minute they step on the field. I think Sean Payton, that's what he wants to do. Both teams like to play with the lead. Both teams want to be aggressive. I think we'll see a really good game. The fear I have is the Colts extending the lead early in the game and making it difficult.
If the Colts dump Gatorade on Jim Caldwell, will he move?
Yeah, I think he probably will. It might be, with the weather is like it is, it'll probably be cold for him. He better keep moving.
Yeah, the weather's going to be interesting. Probably ultimately bad for the Saints. I would think that would be a much bigger advantage for the Colts and the style that they play if the weather's kind of crummy.
But they need footing. The speed of their defense relies on a clean field and a perfect field. And look, their defense gave up 31 to a very pedestrian type offense in Jacksonville. And if they do that, if Jacksonville can put 31 on them, and I think the Saints can get the game into the 30s. And like I said, they've got to have the ball last with 2:06 to go, like David Garrard had it, and they've got to be able to execute. I mean, this isn't going to be one of those games. If you're a Saint fan, you're going to be in control of it the whole game. You just got to be in control of it in the fourth period.
What week was that Jags-Colts game that you're talking about?
Week 15.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
And everything was perfect. And where the Jags got affected, they gave up the return for the touchdown in the kicking game, which you can't do. You have to be vanilla in the kicking game against the Colts. You can't give them a play, because once you do, obviously the score is going to get into the 30s. It's a little bit like when you played the 49ers with Montana and Young. If you gave up a defensive touchdown to that offense, the game was going to be in the 30s. And you got to be able to play a game in the 30s. So you want to play this game in the 20s. But when you give up a special teams or a defensive touchdown, it puts the game in the 30s, and it's tough if you're not used to scoring that many points. The Saints are.
Let's say the Colts win. Manning's great. He wins the MVP. Where is his place then in the QB pantheon?
I've been saying this since, and everybody's accusing me of loving Manning, but I just think the guy has gotten better and better with every game I see him play, and I think he's by far the tops at his game. And it's by a lot, and I think it'll be reflective in the contract.
Do you think that maybe he's always been the same, it's just that the rules have changed and now benefit him more than maybe they did 5 years ago?
I think the rules really have, and I think Rod Woodson was talking about that on NFL Network the other night. I think the rules really have helped him and helped every quarterback. I mean, was there ever a time in your life that you remember 4,000-yard passers as readily available as there is in the NFL right now?
No.
I think they're helping everybody, and I think Manning being at the top of his game, it really enhances his performance. And so, look, you can't play defense in the NFL if you don't get your hands on the receivers, and the way they call the games, it makes it tough to get your hands on the receivers.
Sal and Sal mentioned this in the podcast before you, that I said that if 2010 Colts were playing the 03-04 Pats, that with the way the rules are now, I think that those Patriot teams would have a lot of trouble beating this Manning team. What do you think?
I agree, and I think if you take it a step back, I would say the Giants team. I mean, with the exception of the great Lawrence Taylor, but the way the Giants played defense and the way they were always physical on the receivers with cover two and banging them around and forcing them, and holding on, I think it's tough. I think the rules have changed, and it's an offensive game. People like it to be. Look at the ratings for the Brett Favre game with the Saints was at over a 28. It was an incredible rating. It was an offensive kind of performance. I think that's what the NFL wants out of their games, and the way the rules are, it's a passing league by far. And you can't rough up these receivers, and the only way you're really going to stop a passing game is to rough them up.
What kind of wardrobe did you bring for Super Bowl week? Did you go full Italian Guido on us, or did you go stylish?
Even though I am from New Jersey, there's nothing about Jersey Shore that I would be resembled to, other than the fact that I do have an Italian heritage. I know that's from Jersey. That show, my boys watch it. I don't understand that part of the Jersey Shore. I grew up in a different area. Obviously the very conservative suits that I always wear on NFL Network. That's what I brought.
You're not going sleeveless T-shirts or anything?
No, I'm not going to go with the guinea tee. I just don't think it's fitting down here. I'm taking the Tony Sperano look down here. Just kind of wearing the Hawaiian shirts and looking for Paulie.
You're not going to do the Stan Van Gundy, the all-black outfit with the black shirt, no tie?
No, Van Gundy looks like an unmade bed. I don't think I can get away with that.
Does Van Gundy know he's not Italian?
I don't know. It's amazing. When during the playoffs last year, I just couldn't believe how he could top his bad performance of dressing the next week, and he just outdid himself every day.
By the way, Joe Mead, this all stays because I'm half Italian. I can make these jokes.
Okay.
My mom's whole side is Italian.
See, I knew that's a good quality of you.
Yeah,
and, so you understand the importance of when it's one thing about that Jersey Shore show. I just don't that area of I don't. That's not where I'm from. Of course, the town I grew up in doesn't have alcohol in it, so maybe that's why we weren't like that.
I've made the comparison that it's really not fair to call them, the Italian Jersey people, because it's almost like how there are degrees of being Jewish, where you have you have the Hasidic Jews, you have normal Jewish people, whatever. The Jersey Shore Italians, I think, are the equivalent of the Hasidic Jewish, where they, it's just you can't really compare them. It's their own type of people.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't feel like you have anything in common with the Jersey Shore Italians.
Not the ones that are on that TV show, by no means. The ones that come over to my house to drink beer and have a barbecue, I have a lot in common with them. And, but that one, I'm not sure I do.
But the Sopranos Italians, kind of, there's enough there that you're like, all right.
No,
yeah,
I identify with everything about them other than the killings, because when they were having dinner, it looked like every dinner that I've ever been a part of.
There needs to be a levels of Italian. That would be a good art. That should be a good mailbag thing for me. The 5 levels of Italian.
It would be. That would be good.
Because my family's like level 3.
Yeah, that one down on the beach is a little bit.
That's level 5.
Yeah, that would be over the top.
That's the last level. That's the level where you're like, wow, what just happened? They're going to be in South Beach.
Oh, they are.
Oh yeah, you might have a chance to meet them. Maybe they'll suck you toward level 5.
I don't think they'll get me. For some reason, I don't think that's right. Now, if the cast from The Sopranos was here, they'd have me completely under their wing. There's no doubt.
You missed that show.
Terribly. I don't know what Sundays. And now that this past Sunday was a really disheartening day. No NFL football, no Madman, no Sopranos, no
no
Wire.
True Blood. Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
I mean, it's very depressing, isn't it?
They should. There should be a rule that whatever the best show is should just run on Sundays. Like I think Lost should run on Sundays on ABC. It needs to have some sort of a meal ticket show. Needs to be on because Sundays just feel weird when there's nothing on.
There's nothing to look forward to. I mean, all weekend, when the shows were good, you were looking forward to, to see the Madman or whatever the shows, and now there's nothing. Now there's no games, so now you have a doubleheader of pain.
We ended up watching the Grammys last night, which, that's not the way I want to spend 3 hours on Sunday night.
But I figured you'd run a diary from that, didn't you?
No, it's so out of touch with everything now. They have these best new artists, and like Silverson Pickups was one of the best new artist candidates, and their first album came out in 2006. Like, it's probably the most out of touch award show out of all of them, which is pretty sad to say. So give us your Super Bowl pick.
I like the Colts. I do like the Colts to win. I think the Colts will win 27-20. I think it'll be they'll have enough defense to end the game, but I like the Colts, and I like Manning to be able to control the game. And I just think that at the end of the day, after all the analysis that I've done, I think the Colts will win it.
So you like the Colts to cover, but not to go over. What do you think of Cousin Sal's 2 Super Bowl prop picks? Number 1, Peyton Manning will throw a second quarter touchdown.
I mean that one seems to be like a lock on the surface to me. I would think he could. To me, the question is, will he throw one in every quarter? I think that would be the harder bet.
Oh, that's a good one. I have to look up the odds for that. The other one is he has the under for Dave Thomas total receptions 2.5. He likes the under.
Well, that's if Shockey gets hurt, I would say he's wrong on that. If Shockey hurts his knee or the ankle or whatever he has on the lower extremity pain, Dave Thomas takes over and he could have 6 catches easily.
That's a great point. And plus, Cousin Sal was the guy who told us last year that Gary Russell wouldn't score a touchdown, and Gary Russell scored the first touchdown again.
I think Cousin Sal what level is Cousin Sal on the Italian chart? I'd like to know.
He's a level 4, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, he's definitely. He's definitely not level 5. He's about a 3.5. He's between 3 and 4. My family's a 3, but I think I'm down to a 2.
Well, yeah.
Plus, I don't look Italian.
Well, plus you've become L.A., so that automatically lowers you a little bit.
That
too.
I would think too. Yeah, L.A. weeded it out of me.
Yeah.
So, will I see you in Super Bowl week?
I hope so. I'd love to see you. Are you going to be like Gil Brandt and working around Media Row?
Yeah. I'm going to Radio Row. I'm just going to do laps.
I'm going to get you those polyester pants and wear them up high with a golf shirt from a Dallas country club. Then I'll know exactly who you are.
Who replaces Gil Brandt when he finally stops going? I think it should be you.
No. Gil is irreplaceable. Gil taught me how to scout. That's how old Gil is. I mean, he's had a combine. He's the father of the combine. Gil's an incredible, incredible person. He started back in '84 when I first got in the league. He was the one who taught me how to scout. Taught a lot of people how to scout in the league. He's been remarkable.
Mike Lombardi, stay off TMZ, stay off smoking guns, stay off the sports blogs, try to stay out of trouble. Good luck in Super Bowl week.
All right, Bill, thanks.
All right, that wraps up part 1 of the Mega Playoff Podcast. Stay tuned for part 2 with Aaron Schatz from FootballOutsiders.com and Chad Millman from ESPN the Magazine. Until then.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
You laughed, you cried, you turned up the sound repeatedly, and now it's all over. This concludes another installment of the BS Report. And with all the talk about sports, Bill Simmons neglected to mention this important just breaking news. Subway is home to the famous $5 footlong, so celebrate your favorite Subway famous $5 footlong, like the classic BLT or the Big Bowl Black Forest ham and cheese. All stacked your way with the meats, cheeses, and fresh crisp veggies you love.